Like, I didn't have to read the whole book of Numbers. Is that seriously what you're telling me right now? Is that seriously what you're telling me right now? I so love that. I actually love that. Hey folks, welcome to Joel Reads Bible. I'm Joel and I read Bibles so that you don't have to. And we're out of Numbers. We're out of the scary, bloody book. Maybe not as bloody as Leviticus. I'm not sure. But we're out of the horrific book that was Numbers, and we're into a lush pasture of peace and tranquility and beauty and joy. Not violence and God just killing people because they wanted some meat. You can tell that I can't get over that chapter. It was like my favorite chapter of all time, or that they're scared of giants or what have you. But just a beautiful book of maybe waltzing, if you will, into the promised land, and making friends with the native people of the promised land, saying, "Can we please stay?" And they're like, "Oh, we would love to have you as our guests," something like that. I've got high hopes. And it's off to Canaan we go. So I'm also worried because I have heard there's other genealogies, and as you guys know, I hate them, and we will try to get through those as quick as we can. But one thing I have noticed in reviewing the videos that I've done is that I can be a little bit negative, and I don't like to be a negative person. I want to be nice. So this time, what I'm going to do is at least, I'm going to try to stay positive, but at least at the end of every chapter, see if I can remember to do this, I'm going to tell you what I loved and, of course, what I hated about the chapter. So we'll just do in the recap, in the closing thoughts, I'll be like, what did I love about this chapter? What did I hate? Just so that we can, do a balance, So I want to try to say something positive, because I don't always want to be negative about Bible. I just feel like, I'm hurting people, ancient Hebrews that may still be around. You don't know. Anything's possible. There's fallen angels inseminated human women. So literally anything is possible. But without further ado, we're here with the first chapter of Deuteronomy. Nobody knows how to pronounce that. So let's get right into it. Deuteronomy chapter 1. These are the words which Moses spoke to all Israel beyond the Jordan, in the wilderness, in the Arabah, opposite Suph, between Paran, Tophel, Laban, Hazeroth, and Dizahab. It is 11 days' journey from Horeb by the way of Mount Seir to Kadesh Barnea. In the 14th year, in the 11th month, on the first day of the month, Moses spoke to the children of Israel according to all that Yahweh had given him in commandment to them, after he had struck Sihon, the king of the Amorites, who lived in Heshbon, and Og, the king of Bashan, who lived in Ashtaroth at Edrei. Beyond the Jordan, in the land of Moab, Moses began to declare this law, saying, Yahweh our God spoke to us in Horeb, saying, You have lived long enough at this mountain. Turn and take your journey and go to the hill country of the Amorites and to all the places near there. In the Arabah, in the hill country, in the lowlands, in the south, by the seashore, in the land of the Canaanites, and in Lebanon, as far as the great river, the river Euphrates. Behold, I have set the land before you. Go and possess the land which Yahweh swore to your fathers, to Abraham, to Isaac, to Jacob, and give to them and to their offspring after them. I wonder what it means by offspring here. I don't know if this will ever come up, but I wonder if offspring just means friends or followers. I don't know if it means literal descendants from their bodies or whatever, like biological children and grandchildren and stuff. So this is just a recap. This happens a lot. They do these pointless recaps. I mean, I guess if someone like read Numbers and then 5 years later was like, I guess I better continue to read this book. Okay, let's see here. What's been going on? Oh, thank goodness, a recap. But for us, we're really going through it. Right? We're reading the whole thing. We just keep going. And so we don't really need this. We know that at a certain point when they were at Mount Horeb or Sinai, well, they're both the same and there's an apologetic for that. Don't think for a second that it's a contradiction. There's an apologetic for it. So you don't have to, they've made something up so you don't have to like worry that it's a contradiction, that they've like spliced more than one story together or something like that. No, Sinai is also called Horeb. Everything has 8 names. I mean, that's only 2, but okay, so just like relax. So now we're calling it Horeb. But I do kind of like some of the nice words in the lowland, in the south, by the seashore, in the land of the Canaanites, and in Lebanon, as far as the great river, the river Euphrates. Like it's actually quite nice, these descriptions. But I spoke to you at that time saying, I am not able to bear you myself alone. Yahweh your God has multiplied you, and behold, you are today as the stars of the sky for multitude. May Yahweh, the God of your fathers, make you 1,000 times as many as you are, and bless you as he has promised you. How can I myself alone bear your problems, your burdens, and your strife? Take wise men of understanding who are respected among your tribes, and I will make them heads over you. Couple things. Now, if you're a hardcore literalist in the Bible, this is wrong. If you want to go like hardcore, the Bible means what it says. I don't think anyone like that exists anymore. I think everybody is really very quick to say it's metaphorical. What? Stoning virgins is metaphorical. We haven't gotten there, but we will in this book. But it's metaphorical. The horrible things are metaphorical. Obviously, there's only 600,000 men. Now, they've all been killed, maybe not at 14 years, but at 40 years, they'll all have been killed and then replenished. A whole new generation. But there's only 600,000 men, and then probably no elderly, because they all died. So there are probably 600,000 under 40s, plus the women and children. So there could still be, what are we looking at, 2 mil? I don't know math, but there's a lot of people here. I think there's a lot more stars than 1.8 million stars or 2 million stars, or, the largest number that this could be. I think there's a lot more stars than that. So if you're a hardcore literalist, this is absolutely scientifically wrong. Okay. But nobody feels that way. So it's all hyperbole, right? Which is fine. God speaks in this particular case in hyperbole. We don't know if he speaks in hyperbole when he commands armies to go in and do certain things to certain people. So far, we haven't seen that. We will keep that in the back of our heads as well. But in this case, obviously, it must be hyperbole because that's just absolutely not true. He just means there's a whole lot. But he wants it to grow like 1,000 times that size. So there's going to be way more people. I don't know if you'll remember, it must have been in Exodus, where his father-in-law, Jethro, whose name is also Reuel, he came along and he said to Moses, he goes, it's too much work for you. This is just the recap. And it's interesting that Moses is saying he said those things, but if I remember correctly, Jethro was the one that was like, you can't handle that stuff. I'm being nitpicky. The Bible is full of contradictions. I don't need to look hard for like subtle ones. But anyway, so he's recounting that part of the story, I guess it seems. All right, so the quotations in this are missing now. but I think it's got to still be Moses. So you answered me and said, the thing which you have spoken is good to do. So I took the heads of your tribes, wise and respected, and made them heads over you, captains of thousands, captains of hundreds, captains of 50, captains of 10, and officers according to your tribes. I commanded your judges at the time, saying, hear cases between your brothers and judge righteously between a man and his brother and the foreigner who's living with them. You shall not show partiality in judgment. You shall hear the small and the great alike. You shall not be afraid of the face of man, for the judgment is God's. The case that is too hard for you, you shall bring to me, and I will hear it. Now, I don't know if you noticed the subtle move I did there. Moses put on a more macho voice. He tried to be a little bit more commanding. So he was speaking like, remember, he's like, remember when I said this? I'm a big guy. I said this thing, he made it, put on more aplomb. Said it with aplomb. I commanded you at that time all the things which you should do. We traveled from Horeb and went through all the great terrible wilderness which you saw by the way to the hill country of the Amorites, as Yahweh our God commanded us. And we came to Kadesh Barnea. I commanded you at that time all the things which you should do. But then they traveled as Yahweh commanded them. So are you doing it, Moses, or is Yahweh? Or is it the same thing? I feel like it's the same thing. I've made this argument many times that the voice of Yahweh goes through Moses. Moses is the voice of Yahweh. He says Yahweh's message, and the two are like intrinsically linked. There's no time when what Moses says isn't basically what Yahweh says. Maybe when he's going like, but Yahweh, how are you going to get so much meat? Something like that. But this is me just setting up when Jesus says, Moses let you guys divorce because of blah, blah, blah. It's always Yahweh. Yahweh's in complete control, so we can't really blame Moses for any of that. I said to you, you have come to the hill country of the Amorites, which Yahweh our God gives to us. Behold, Yahweh your God has set the land before you. Go up, take possession, as Yahweh, the God of your fathers, has spoken to you. Don't be afraid, neither be dismayed. That's nice. Just go kill people. Just go take someone else's land. Don't be afraid. It's going to be fine. You came near to me, every one of you, and said, let's send men before us, that they may search the land for us and bring back to us word of the way by which we must go up, and the cities to which we will come. This is starting to feel like a very elderly man who is just like near retirement. I don't know if you've ever had this experience. He just wants to reminisce. He just wants to talk about his career. He wants to just like tell you all the cool things that he did. You're kind of like, oh yeah, cool. Is that what you used to do? Neat. Yeah, no, over there we used to have that other kind of machine. Yeah, that was we made way more tires back then. Now we make less tires. That's a guy that works at a tire factory. That's what this is. They're like, oh yeah, remember that time we did? And everyone's like, yes, Mosey, we remember. Yeah, that was really, really fun. He's like, oh yes, and then I said you could have more people to do the thing that we talked, and then I don't have to do the talk because I'm overwhelmed. Yeah, we remember that, Moses. Yeah, that was pretty neat, pretty good idea. And everyone said that was a good idea. Yes, that was a good idea. Everyone did say that was a good idea. Well done. Yeah, and then everybody was like, let's go, like send somebody to search the land. Yes, they did. So I like it. So and that made me. I thought that was a good idea. So I let them do that. I said everything for them to do. Right? Yes, you did. It was all your idea. And then God commanded us to walk through over there to the Imam. Yes, God did that, but you told us what to do all the time. But also God. Exactly, Mosey. We're just in an old folks' home right now. The thing pleased me well. I took 12 of your men, one man for every tribe. They turned up and went up into the hill country and came to the valley of Eshcol and spied it out. They took some of the fruit of the land in their hands and brought it down to us and brought us word again and said, "It is a good land which Yahweh our God gives to us." Now, this is a Moses misremembering. They didn't take the fruit in their hands. They hung one cluster of grapes on a pole between two men. So they have a big pole, and it was so heavy, they had to carry it like that. And it was one massive cluster of grapes. And I pictured giant grapes. And I think it's because of a children's storybook that I once had, where they had like these giant bowling ball grapes, which I thought, of course, that's ridiculous, that those have never existed. Now I realize that they're just normal sized grapes, but a giant cluster. So one branch and then tons of little clusters. So I'm kind of embarrassed because look, this is deconstruction, right? You have to read the thing, imagine the thing you were taught or shown as a kid, and then go, oh, right. They were, I don't know if it was meant to be funny, but I have a feeling that they were just also not getting it. So not my fault. Not my fault. I was raised fundamentalist. Yet you wouldn't go up, but rebelled against the commandments of Yahweh your God. You murmured in your tents and said, because Yahweh hated us, he has brought us out of the land of Egypt to deliver us into the hands of the Amorites to destroy us. Where are we going up? Our brothers have made our heart melt, saying, the people are greater and taller than they. The cities are great and fortified up to the sky. Moreover, we have slain the sons of Anakim. Now, you can't understand that because Moses is doing an imitation of an imitation. It's getting really meta because he's doing the imitation of the guys that are like, oh, Yahweh hates us, and then they're doing an imitation. So he's doing an imitation and then doing an imitation. So it got really, really messy. But it's, again, you can watch the back episodes where this actually happened. But all of this is pretty consistent in that story, just told by an old man sitting on a pea-soaked couch. Then I said to you, don't be terrified. Don't be afraid of them. Yahweh your God, who goes before you, he will fight for you according to all that he did for you in Egypt before your eyes and in the wilderness, where you have seen how that Yahweh your God carried you as a man carries his son all the way that you went until you came to this place. Yahweh carried you like a man carries his son. Did he? Did he though? In his big loving arms, and his son, who is in one of those a thing you ride on the back, he says, "Daddy, I'm tired of these plain crackers. Can I have some fruit leather?" And he chops his head off. Just like a dad, just like a typical father, when the son gets a little bored of whatever they're eating, he shoved fruit leather into his mouth and then killed him with the fruit leather somehow. Maybe strangled him with fruit leather or something, because he has to kill him with the thing that he wants. Yeah, just like a dad. The son sees something that he's scared of. He goes, I'm scared of that, Dad. He's like, you're scared? Don't you realize I'm here? I will protect you. And now that you're scared, I'm going to kill you. So he kills him for that too. Yeah, that's interesting. At one point, because the son's been eating way too many crackers and they've been wandering in a desert, on his back, carrying him the whole time, just like a father. The son's like, boy, I could use a drink of water. And he kills him He doesn't kill him directly. He throws him on the ground and gets some snakes to start biting him. And then he dies. Right before he could look at a statue as a sculpture of a snake. Would you call it a graven image of a snake? Thou shalt not make a graven image of a snake. That's God carrying his son like a father. Just a great dad. Yahweh's never been a good dad. You can go back and listen to my chapter, Genesis 21, I think 21, 22. Yahweh encourages Abraham to send Ishmael into the desert to die. That's the type of dad that God is. Yet this is the thing, you didn't believe Yahweh your God, who went before you on the way to seek out a place for you to pitch your tents in fire by night, to show you by what way you should go, and in a cloud by day. Yahweh heard the voice of your words, and was angry and swore, saying, surely not one of these men of the evil generation shall see the good land which I swore to give to your fathers, except Caleb, the son of Jephunneh. He shall see it. I will give the land that he has trodden on to him and to his children, because he has wholly followed Yahweh. This is such a sequel sort of spin-off kind of cliffhanger thing. That's what they've been doing. They're just changing up the cast just to keep it interesting. But at the same time, it's I don't know if I ever really got a real handle on Moses' character. You know what I mean? It doesn't feel like we really know these guys. They're all kind of just saying stuff similarly, and they're the same guy. Moses has a bit of a personality, because he can be a bit sarcastic. So I shouldn't say that. And the love affair with Joshua was interesting, but they don't have incredible characters. They don't do a lot of character development. So what difference would it make? But I guess age is the thing that they need to get some fresh blood in there. Blood, God loves that. It's his favorite thing. But why would they believe Yahweh? Why would they trust him? He keeps on turning on them over petty things. So it's not weird that they'd be I'm not so sure about this, Yahweh. You say you're going to protect us. It's why would you not think I'm going to protect you? Why do you guys think I'm not going to protect you? Why? Because I've been killing you all? What? And I think he was killing them off before they got in trouble, and he said, these people aren't going to make it. I think it was just an excuse to kill more of them, and to get the people that are going into Canaan to be all under 40. That's what he really wants. He's I need the under 40s, because I just want young, hot people procreating all over Canaan. We're going to get rid of all the horrible Canaanites, and we're just going to have a Love Island or Temptation Island or one of these island shows, but it's going to be Love Desert, and all the hot under 40 ancient Hebrews are going to just be plowing, and they are hot. I'm sorry, they are Joseph. They're descendants of Joseph. They're descendants of Sarai. Remember how hot Sarah was? She was 100 years old. Just super hot. Pharaoh was just get that elderly over here. Get that elderly nomad over here. I picture a Helen Mirren type, just a beautiful elderly woman. Also, Yahweh was angry with me for your sake, saying, you shall also not go in there. Joshua the son of Nun, who stands before you, shall go in there. Encourage him, for he shall cause Israel to inherit it. Moreover, your little ones, whom you said would be captured or killed, your children, who today have no knowledge of good or evil, shall go in there. I will give it to them, and they shall possess it. But as for you, turn and take your journey into the wilderness by the way of the Red Sea. Moses does a pretty good impression of Yahweh, I'd say. Did you hear how he said, but as for you? Because if it was Yahweh, he'd be but as for you, turn and take your... But Moses did, but as for you, turn and, If you're a Christian and you could get me a job just making a lot of money on cartoons, doing voices on cartoons, I'd stop this. Like, I'd quit this in a heartbeat if there was something more fun to do. If you're a Christian and you're in the industry, and you can hook me up, I'll stop reading Bible in a heartbeat. If you can get me on and I'm not a Christian show, okay? Not a stupid Christian show. It's got to be mainstream, really good, something long-term Simpsons, like something, not actual Simpsons, but like something that's going to go that long, okay? Full-time voiceover job, a SpongeBob, okay? I'll stop Bible. I love how Moses blames the Hebrews. This is what Christians still do with these poor Hebrews in the wilderness, right? Just like the regular people. They're like, what did we do? And Moses is like, Yahweh got angry because you guys were annoying me, and so I hit the rock too hard. You guys got me frustrated, and I couldn't control my emotions, so I smashed the rock, and then I got in trouble for you. Because you're rude. You're rebels. They're like, we just were thirsty. We just needed... No, you're rebels. Only rebels are thirsty. So now I don't get to go to the promised land? You guys are rude. They're like, we were just a little thirsty, Mose. We were just a little thirsty. But I also love, and I should say this for the end of the chapter, but I love the irony, the use of irony. Anytime people are using irony, I love it. And I think that this is pretty neat to find it in such an old text. And I don't know much about like ancient texts and how often they used sweet irony. But here, back in, I think it was Numbers 13, which is the episode of the spies, 13 and 14. The spies go, they'll destroy us. They'll kill all of our children, and we'll lose everything, But God's like, you guys are worried that they're going to kill your children? I'll tell you what, I'll have your children inherit this, and I'm going to kill all of you for being afraid. Now that's fun. That's fun irony. So that's good creative writing. So I do appreciate that. I'll probably use that as the thing that I love about this chapter. Then you answered and said to me, we have sinned against Yahweh. We will go up and fight according to all that Yahweh our God commanded us. Every man of you put on his weapons of war and presume to go up into the hill country. Yahweh said to me, tell them, don't go up and don't fight, for I am not among you, lest you be struck before your enemies. So I spoke to you, and you didn't listen. But you rebelled against the commandment of Yahweh, and you were presumptuous, and you went up into the hill country. The Amorites who lived in the hill country came out against you and chased you as bees do, and beat you down to Seir, even to Hormah. You returned and you wept before Yahweh, but Yahweh didn't listen to your voice, nor turn his ear to you. So you stayed in Kadesh many days according to the days that you remained. Are the first couple chapters of this book going to be just a recap of all of Numbers? We didn't have to read Numbers. Is this what's happening? We didn't have to fucking read Numbers. Is that what you're telling me right now? Like, I didn't have to read the whole book of Numbers. Is that seriously what you're telling me right now? Is that seriously what you're telling me right now? So love that. I actually love that. I love that, and they chased you as bees do. That is fantastic. No. The Amorites. Now, if I remember correctly, it was the Canaanites and the Amalekites. And I don't know, I think the Amorites are Canaanites, but I don't know if they're also Amalekites. This might be a slight contradiction. Again, we don't have to worry too much about these like little differences, because like somebody will say the Amorites are just Canaanites. Fine, But where are the Amalekites? But it is likely some kind of little contradiction. And I think we will find other contradictions like that, but we can just stick to the big ones where it says God doesn't change and then he changes his mind 1,000 times. We can just do those ones and that's fine. Have you ever had a parent, like a good parent? We all know the story of the prodigal son, by the way, right? Which is like the ideal parent. Talk about a contradiction. Let's focus on that. We have the story of the prodigal son where he goes out and he does the thing that, his dad obviously doesn't want him to do, which is take all his stuff and say, F you, dad, and go squander all his money. And he returns and his dad throws a party and he's so happy his son is back, right? That's a reflection, supposedly, of this very God, right? Welcoming back the lost sheep to the fold. That's supposedly what I understand that story is supposed to mean. And now we have these people who go, we're going to go fight this battle. And God's like, I want to do it if I were you. I'm not going with you. Good luck. They go do it anyway. And they come back. They're weeping. They're sad. And Yahweh's like, I told you not to go. They're like, we were wrong. I'm not going to help you. I told you not to go. I'm not going to help you. So, no, sorry, you can cry all you want. I'm not helping. No, I am not. I can't even hear you. I'm not listening. I'm not listening. So it's a little bit counterintuitive. And this is what they like to say where like, oh, Jesus solved all the problems. Did he? Like, he's not changing Yahweh's behavior here, right? He doesn't even explain the behavior. So if we want to find consistency in the personhood of this God, we really can't use both the New and the Old Testament. Like, they don't match. They clash. They're not the same guy. It's impossible. That's the type of contradiction that we need to lean into. Who cares if the Amorites are Canaanites or not? But guys, thank you for being here. It was fun to get right back into a new book like this one, Deuteronomy. What did I love about this chapter? I loved the irony. I loved a little bit of the irony that was going on there. I loved that Moses blamed everyone else for him not going into the promised land. And I loved finding a little bit of a new contradiction in the Bible. They're everywhere, but I think that's a lovely theological contradiction. There was a lot to love about this chapter. What did I hate about it? As much as it was kind of fun to go back over stuff, and it was done in at a pretty good pace, because we've gotten like recaps of, this is how you do the tabernacle, and then they do the tabernacle, and you have to read all those details. That was painful. So this was a little bit better, but even still, I already read this stuff. Like, I already know these stories, and this didn't add that much insight into it. It didn't really add any new information. So that's what I'll say I hated. I didn't really hate it, but I could have done without the repetition. But listen, thanks for joining me. Please like this video, leave me a comment, and why not you subscribe? And we'll see you next time. Bye.